When I was 9, I wasn't scared of the dark. Monsters weren't real to me. Not until the night my mom told me something that changed everything. She was tucking me in, her smile a little tight. "Emily," she said, her voice soft, "if you ever hear someone calling you from under the bed, don't look." I laughed. It sounded silly. Why would someone be under my bed? But my mom didn't smile back. Her face was serious. "Just promise me." Confused, I nodded. I figured it was just a strange joke. That same night, I woke up. The clock on my nightstand glowed. 2:47 a.m. My room was silent. Too silent. And then I heard it. A whisper, soft as a breath. "Emily." My blood ran cold. My heart started hammering against my ribs. The voice, it was coming from right under my bed. My mom's warning echoed in my head. "Don't look." I pulled the blanket tight over my head, squeezing my eyes shut. This has to be a dream. It has to be. The whisper came again, but this time it was closer, clearer. "Emily, I'm scared." My breath caught in my throat. It sounded exactly like my mom. Choked and afraid. Tears pricked my eyes. "Mom?" I whispered into the darkness of my blanket fort. There was no response. Just a heavy silence, and then a soft scratching. Like long fingernails dragging slowly across the wooden floorboards right beneath my mattress. My entire body started shaking uncontrollably. I wanted to scream, to run to my parents' room, but I was frozen solid with terror. Then, I heard real footsteps in the hallway coming toward my room. The doorknob turned, and the door creaked open. My real mom stood there, silhouetted in the hallway light. "Emily, why are you awake?" A wave of relief washed over me so strong I almost sobbed. "Mom, you were calling me." She frowned, looking confused. "Honey, I was asleep." I pointed a trembling finger toward the bed. "There's something under there." The color drained from her face. She rushed over, grabbing my arm, her grip tight and urgent. "Don't look under the bed," she whispered, her voice shaking. I had never ever seen my mom this scared. She pulled me back toward the door, and that's when we both heard it. From under the bed, in my mom's own voice, a desperate plea. "Emily, help me." I stared at my real mom, standing right beside me. Her hand trembled in mine, tears welling in her eyes. "That's not me," she choked out. Suddenly the entire bed frame shook, as if something underneath had slammed against it. Boom! I screamed. My mom yanked me out of the room, and we ran, locking ourselves in the living room. My dad, woken by the commotion, grabbed a flashlight and a baseball bat, thinking we had an intruder. He stormed toward my room while Mom and I huddled in the hallway, listening. We heard him shout, "Who's in here?" And then nothing. Absolute silence. "David?" My mom called out, her voice trembling. No answer. She couldn't wait any longer. She ran to the room, and I followed close behind. My dad was just standing there, by the bed, looking completely bewildered. "There's nothing here," he said, shining the flashlight around. He dropped to his knees and looked under the bed. It was empty. The floor was clean. No dust disturbed, no marks, nothing. I didn't sleep in my room that night. I slept wedged between my parents, the hall light left on. The next morning felt surreal. Everything was normal. Too normal. It felt like a collective bad dream. But that night, it happened again. At exactly 2:47 a.m., I woke up. I was in my parents' bed between them. I turned my head. Mom was asleep. Dad was asleep. Then I heard it. From under their bed. "Emily." The voice was angrier now, laced with a chilling resentment. "You didn't look." Tears streamed silently down my face. I shook my mom awake. "Mom, it's back." Her eyes flew open, instantly wide with fear. She didn't need an explanation. She just listened. We both heard it. The slow, patient scratching. Waiting. My dad jolted awake, jumping out of bed. He flipped on the light and immediately got on his hands and knees to look under the bed. Again, nothing. But this time was different. On the polished wooden floor, there were fresh scratch marks, deep gouges, as if something heavy had been dragging itself across the floor. My dad stood up slowly, his face pale, and that's when all three of us heard it. A faint whisper coming from inside their closet. Wrong place. My dad ripped the closet door open. It was just clothes hanging in the dark. But behind the clothes, on the back wall, words were scratched into the paint, so faint you could barely see them. They looked like they'd been carved with fingernails. It said, "She didn't look. We left that house that night. We packed a few bags and drove away." We never went back. Years passed. I was 26, living in my own apartment in the city. I convinced myself it was just a child's overactive imagination, a story my family had blown out of proportion. I didn't believe in monsters anymore. Until one night. Of course, it was 2:47 a.m. when I woke up. My apartment was dead silent, and then I heard it, the whisper. From under my bed. "Emily," my heart stopped. It was the same voice. The same cold, waiting tone. After 17 years, it had found me. Or maybe it had been with me all along. Tears filled my eyes, but this time it wasn't just fear. It was a strange kind of resignation. I had to know. I had to end this. My hands shaking, I slowly got out of bed. I knelt down on the cold floor. And for the first time in my life, I broke the promise I made to my mother. I looked under the bed. There was nothing there, just an empty space. A nervous laugh escaped my lips. I knew it. It was all in my head. I stood up, a giddy sense of relief washing over me, and then I froze. On my bed, under the blanket, was a shape. The distinct outline of a person, lying right where I had been just moments ago. And a voice came from under the blanket, my own voice, shaking with terror. "Emily, I'm scared." And in that horrifying instant, I finally understood. The voice was never trying to get me to look under the bed. It was trying to get me to switch places. And now, I had looked, and something else was in my bed. Thanks for watching. If this story sent a shiver down your spine, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Stay safe out there.